maybe I thought before everybody joins, we can have a small maybe discussion. Like, so maybe I had a small presentation. Let me see.
Good. Why not? In fact, I couldn't attend last time, so
Okay, okay.
I
So
just
I have shared you the recording.
yeah, I just saw it now today. It's quite useful.
Yeah, it was a very Dr. Satapathy sir's session was very popular, though it was the first session. I think even the YouTube video had almost 1,200 plus views till now.
Oh, great.
It was actually very eye opener.
Yeah.
Very philosophical view of money. It
Yeah.
was not that stating that money is not. People say philosophical means don't make money, but he never said it. He rightly balanced it. Actually, um, how
So
much money you make, how much you need. Yes, sir. Senthil sir, you can go ahead with the presentations. At
no,
least we
it's
can.
not a presentation. I just thought I can share about what I'm reading before we actually start the session. I don't know how many of you have read this.
I have read. I have read this. I have
Yeah,
read
so
this
it's a very
Tomato books.
interesting book. Basically,
Yeah,
resonates.
step by step.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Resonates a lot with the finance also, because even becoming a financially independent person cannot happen in a single day. I think it's a culmination of multiple small steps.
Yes.
So becoming successful in life, because we always see people, let's say somebody winning the Olympic gold medal, or somebody becoming a Padma Bhushan after being an ophthalmologist. But what we see is just the culmination of a lot of small efforts, I think. And how do we develop those habits to become a better person every day is what the book talks about. So basically, this person's name is Dave Brailsford. He became the coach of the British cycling team in 2003. So that day, the fate of cycling team of Britain changed, because previously the British cycling team was one of the weakest teams, and then before he joined, it had a lot of bad name, and then even the cycling companies which make cycle were not willing to sell cycles to the British team, because they thought associating with the British team would be giving them a bad name. So then Dave Brailsford joined in 2003, and then within the next 15, 20 years, he changed the way the team was looked at. And the strategy which he worked was called aggregation of marginal gains. I think this also resonates a lot with the financial system or anything in life. I think if you want to become successful at even a cataract surgery, for example, so you don't become the best surgeon on day one, but you see what are all are required to become the best surgeon, and then break it into many components, like say cycling, for example. What are all required to become the best cycling team? Maybe there are hundred thousands of things, and each of those things you break it into smaller components and then improve it marginally. He doesn't say that you have to do it in a single day, or you can do it immediately, but you kind of improve it every day. For example, he makes tiny changes in the cycling, like he improves the seats of the cycle, then he rubs alcohol on the tires, meaning that if the alcohol is rubbed, the friction becomes lesser. Then he even changes the fabric worn by the cyclist. Slowly, these small changes led to the big success. The team starts within 5 years. The team was around turning around. They won gold medals. The British cycling team didn't win even one Tour de France. Tour de France is supposed to be the best cycling competition, and then I think after that, 10 years in a row, almost 9 years, the British team won. So how could they achieve that? Is by marginal improvement of 1%, breaking the effort required into multiple components, and then improvising it day by day by 1% or very small percentage. Even I think everybody is attending this class here. to become financially independent, to become successful financially. So that is the goal. What is generally told is you don't focus on the goal. If your goal is to get 10 crore rupees of money, so don't be focused on the 10 crores. But what he says is you divide that into multiple systems. What are the systems which you need to achieve that goal? So focus on the systems more than on the goals. That way, it becomes easier to achieve it. I think so that, for example, even the scores also we design that way. So that every week you start creating a culture, you start creating a system where you make it a point to attend it. So if you can attend it for 10 weeks or then that itself shows a marginal improvement every day and every week, and then that is can become one part of the system. So basically, what are all the systems we need to create to achieve that goal? That is what is we have to arrive at. So that is the theory or the concept which Dave Brailsford used to achieve that success to transform the team. So this is how I think 1%, they say like if you are improving 1% every day, at the end of 1 year, you become 37 times better than what you were before. Like you become a 37 time better person. For example, if you want to read a book, so you cannot read 500 pages in a single day or in 3-4 days, but read 10 pages every day. I think that way your improvement will become very good. So good habits also grow that way. Bad habits also can compound. So just like how money compounds, the habits also compound. So I think we have to develop that nature of improving systematically, marginally, day by day or week by week or month by month, which will help us in getting the results. Another interesting concept is the plateau of latent potential, because whenever we see somebody succeeding, whenever we see somebody achieving, we see them at the peak of their potential. So generally, let's say you are going to the gym, so you expect to have the transformation, or you see the bodybuilder, and generally we expect that transformation to happen linearly, like the central arrow mark which you can see. But actually what happens in reality is not that. You don't become a bodybuilder on one day. Maybe even I was talking to the gym trainer. So he said, even for your body to show a little bit of changes, it takes 6 months to show that changes. So, but most of the time what happens is we get disappointed. We discontinue. After some time, we discontinue the coaching, we leave the training. So if we escape this valley of disappointment, I think we can achieve the latent potential, this thing, and in a fast stage. So basically, even in a mutual fund investment, I think majority of the people, the speaker today will also highlight that majority of us start SIP in mutual fund, but we think that it will compound as quickly as possible. And most of the time, I think there is a statistic that majority of the people who start an SIP don't continue it after 1 year. So they get into this valley of disappointment and leave it out. So what we have to do is that constant compounding to happen is to keep improving marginally day by day. So that's interesting, I think, whatever I have learned till now. So focus on the process and not on the goals. The goal can be there, but focus on the process and try to improve marginally every day, or put a little effort, make good changes every day. Try to, like, just like how money compounds, the good habits also compound. Maybe it can be going to the gym, it can be investing in mutual fund, it can be improving your surgery, improving your relationships, whatever it is. I think the slow compounding happens, and never fall into the trap of this valley of disappointment. Then I think if you can escape that valley of disappointment, your potential will explode. So just I thought before people join, I could get this book, very interesting, and hope all of you can read this book. Very interesting, not only related to financial management, but in general life. So yeah, I think 33 people have joined. We can start today's session, and I'd like to welcome our speaker for the day, Miss Kavita Tolia. She is a finance professional and a teacher. And she is sister of Mr. Dr. Harish Bhai, who is from the other Just Stocks WhatsApp group. And Madam has done her master's in nutrition, followed by an MBA. And she has worked in the investment banking field for more than 2 decades. It's almost 20 years of experience dealing with investment banking and with her last jobs being in Reliance Capital and Mafatlal Finance. She retired as a teacher and now is working as consultant for some corporates for legal compliance and investment strategies. So, Madam would talk today about. Today also, we thought before we are getting you into the actual process of the financial journey, maybe this is a little bit deeper introduction into the transformation of financial transformation. So, Madam will talk about a personal finance. Last week's talk by Dharmendra Satapathy sir was more about in general life, finance, and philosophy. But today we will actually get into the depths of personal finance, and then coming weeks we will get into multiple aspects like a mutual fund, shares, real estate, all those things. We have topics lined up over the coming weeks. Over to you, madam. Please start your talk, madam.
Hello, everyone. A very good afternoon. And you have a fantastic journey planned ahead. The next 8 weeks are going to be very interesting because I've seen the plan that you have, the topics that you have chosen. I just hope to add my bit to it today. And we'll start with very basics of personal finance because all of us earn money. Everyone has to earn money. And we also spend money. In between, we spend, we save, we invest, and there is this nagging feeling at the back of our mind all the time. Is my spending frivolous? Am I splurging? Am I saving enough? Will I be able to retire on it? Will I be able to meet my goals and needs? And sometimes we're so scared of all these things that it stays as a nagging thought behind. There is a way out of getting out of that and getting some peace of mind, getting out of that nag and getting some peace of mind. And that is to have a planned personal finance. Earning money, most of you are doctors, so I know you do it very well. Spending money, we are all very good at it. It's the in-between part, the investment, the savings that we struggle with. And that is what we need to just understand. It's no rocket science. And it's just that if we understand, see, everyone makes money. So it's not finance management or financial understanding is only for the financial professional. It's like this. I know my body best. You may be a doctor, but I should be able to come and tell you my symptoms and what I am wanting out of that. What I want to be free of. Only then can you give me the proper medicine and the proper treatment, something like that. All of us want something out of life. Most of our wants, especially the objective, tangible, material ones, can only be got through money. We need to, that is why I understand personal finance. And I'm very happy with that you have had these sessions. You're planning these sessions because basic knowledge all of us need. We may not get into it as a professional. You may still have and you should have a financial advisor to plan and help you with your financial investments and savings and plan. But to understand it is very important. So let's start. I will start sharing my screen. I've made a short presentation on personal finance. Let's start. This is my favorite phrase whenever I talk about money, because ABBA's very famous song goes, money, 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 it's the rich man's world. I say it is the smart man's world. All of us need to be smart with our money. Then we will not have any money problem as such. Now, what is personal finance? So it covers everything. It covers your income, it covers your spending, it covers the budgeting that we need to do, the savings, the retirement, the protection, the tax planning, the estate planning. All of us have certain goals and desires.
Madam, can you make it in slideshow? Just click the slideshow so that we can have the full screen. You have to click that.
I know. 1 second.
Yeah,
you want
yeah.
Slideshow?
Yes, madam. Yeah, now it's fine. Thank you, madam.
all of us have individual goals and desires. We are always wondering whether usko pura kar payenge ya nahi kar payenge, ya uske liye kya karna pade. So planning that within our financial constraint. My individual desire to own a yacht also has to be planned. So planning it within my financial constraint is part of my personal financial planning. And we have to give, when we are planning our financial method or mode, importance to protection. Protection is of our livelihood and of our financial assets. Both need to be protected. So why do we need to understand personal finance? We need to understand our present financial situation. Where am I today? The next slide will make this a little more clear. Understand what our needs and goals are. What do we want out of the money that we make, the money that we have? Quantify those needs and goals. I want to buy a car, but Konsa, Maruti, Mercedes, that quantifies what amount I need to buy a car. Plan for the needs and goals. Now, where is that money going to come from? Prioritize needs and goals. I may have 3 priorities. My child might have to go for education. I might want a Maruti or a Mercedes. And I also want to go to a foreign tour. I need to prioritize which I need to fulfill first. That's a choice. There will be no value judgments in any of these slides or presentation. It's your judgment. But you need to prioritize. You have to be sure that this is what I want. This is what I want to do. And this is what I need to do. And then one most important thing is we need to plan for emergencies, because they, by the very nature, come anytime. I may have planned a world tour. I may have got the money for it. But if I need to go for a bypass, the world tour will have to wait. I mean, all of us know that. Once we have this clear, this leads to peace of mind, and you will actually enjoy. I don't want to go to a world tour and wonder, abhi mera bachche ka education ka paisa kahan se aayega? Or have I got enough? Or have I made the necessary arrangement? I need, after 4 years, he's going to go abroad for studies. I need 25, 50 lakhs. Am I okay with it? I don't want that nagging thought at the back, that continuous problem at the back of my mind. I want to be able to enjoy what I'm doing today. And that happens when you're clear that all these are taken care of. My emergencies are also taken care of. So even ye world tour ke baad mujhe jaake bypass karna pada, I'm very comfortably placed. I will be able to manage. So what are these factors? What are the major headings that would come under personal finance? Our income, our expenses, our savings, our investments, and we'll understand the difference between the two. Our protection, what insurance we need. Popularly, what is always told, you, jo paisa apne income hai, you spend money on it. After that, at the end of the month, whatever is left, you save. The more smarter thing, which is the first slide, money, money, money. It's a smart man's world, is to decide your plan, decide what you will need for all the requirements that you have, prioritize it, and then decide today whether you can still spend the money that you're spending today, or you will need to save it. So your expenditure happens after that budgeting and that planning has happened. So it is income minus savings. Not savings is not equal to income minus expenditure. Expenditure happens after what you have planned, what you need to save for the goals that are very important to you. So these are the factors that usually you cover under personal finance. Your income, your spending, your saving, your investing, and your protection. Now, what is income? It is not only what you earn on a monthly basis. It also includes the inheritance that you have. The money that my parents might leave. I know I have a house. I know my mother is leaving me a house. My father is leaving me this thing. I don't have to then plan for that. So when we are planning, we need to take all that into account. We already have certain things in our life at this moment. Even if I was 20, I knew gar mummy papa de dein. So at 20 also, when I did my personal finance, I knew I didn't have to plan to buy a home. So inheritance, what I earn and what I have saved over a period of time, because savings is basically money earning money. My money will earn money for me, and it will add to my corpus at the end. What is spending? All the expenses that you can think of, your monthly expense, your touring, your entertainment, emergencies, your repayment of debt if you have taken home loan, car loan, whatever, loan to put up a hospital, whatever you've taken, all that will come under your expenditure. Marriage of your child, your own marriage, the security that you need for any emergencies, for retirement. All this will come under expenses, and we have to plan for each one of these. So when you plan your expenses, you have to be careful that you plan for each one of this. So what is savings? Basically, savings is deferred expense. I am sacrificing certain joy of spending money today so that I will be able to meet some of my needs of tomorrow. I want to buy a car tomorrow. I will not have 50 lakh rupees. I don't earn that kind of money on a monthly basis. I want a Mercedes. I know I need to save for 1 year. After 1 year, I will have that money. So today I will not go on a tour, on a holiday. I'll not go and stay for 7 days in a 5-star hotel because I need to save this money to buy a Mercedes. Sacrificing today's expenses for tomorrow's needs. It is you deploy that money in any financial or non-financial product, which will earn some money for you. So deploying it in either financial like FDs, shares, or in non-financial like maybe buying a land which you can rent out, a house which you can rent out, or buying a piece of art, or buying gold. All these, if it becomes a saving, if your intention is that you will earn money out of it. So you have two kinds of savings: investment and savings, which I said we will discuss. Now, what is protection? There are two protection which is very important. You can have third-party protection, you can have car protection, insurance, you can have a home insurance. All that is secondary. The most primary two insurance products are life and health. Health is paramount. You are doctors. I don't need to tell you anything about how the medical expenses today are. And our medical inflation is 14%. So our medical cost goes up by 14% year on year. So it's paramount and should be the first part of our, if I start earning, first thing I should do with my savings is to buy a health insurance. Life insurance depends. Because what is life insurance? Basically, it should protect your dependents from any financial shock. They should not have to have problems in living their life because there is not enough money. That will all depend. It will depend on your financial status today. If you think you have enough, you have made enough insurance, you have made enough savings, you have got enough financial products or enough non-financial earning products that your family can live on, then you don't need life insurance. Life insurance is not savings. It is for protection and should only be used for protection. So only if I'm a person where my family is dependent on me, I have home loan, which I need to pay off. If I die tomorrow and that home loan is not paid, my family won't have a roof over their head. They won't have proper, they won't be able to put food on the table, is when I buy life insurance. How much? Depends on what I think is basic requirement. My debt has to be insured. So if I have a 50 lakh home loan, I should buy a life insurance of 50 lakhs for myself. Beyond that, how much do I need to ensure that they have enough to live on? We will never be able to insure enough so that our family after us can live in the luxurious lifestyle. My presence and my absence will always make a financial difference to my family. You can only ensure that they have enough to sustain themselves. I'm a teacher. So I always tell people the best insurance you can have for your family is educated and independent family members. You can never make enough money for them in the early ages of your life. At 50, maybe yes. In the early ages of your life, you can never make so much money or have so much insurance that will take care of them for the rest of their life. Somebody is no more at 30 and his family has to live for another 40, 50 years without him, with the child's education. The amount of money needed calls for the kind of premium which are really very heavy. And that, even 1 crore rupee, all of us know it is not enough. All of us know that what today hospital bill, 10 lakh rupees hospital bill will cost me 1 crore after 20 years. That's the level of inflation we are seeing in medical expenses today. That 1 crore insurance today, if I'm 22, I will have to pay for a premium of 12,000 to 15,000 rupees per year to be able to get that 1 crore life insurance. It's a pretty expensive proposition to go for very high life insurance. So you always take enough so that your family doesn't have any debt left after you and they're able to survive till they're able to become independent. Most important, both of these life and health insurance depends on your age, your genetic predisposition. How genetically predisposed you are to certain illnesses. And in that case, you have to be sure that you have the health insurance to cover that illness. And how your family life age span is. So all this will decide that agar ye problems meri family mein hai, I need to take financial precaution against it right at the start. So it is not something that is none of the financial planning. Each person needs to understand financial planning because each person's financial planning is very different and will depend on his personal position at that period. Who is his family? How many members are earning? Who is dependent on him? What is his standard of living today? What is his needs and goals? How much does he need to take care of his own family, also his parents, his brother, his sister? What are his goals and needs for future? All this is there. Even for insurance, all this has to be taken into account before we decide what kind of health insurance to take, what kind of life insurance to take, what quantum to take. And I repeat myself, life insurance is not for savings, it is only for protection. So all these ULIP, unit linked, market linked insurance products, if you have to do ULIP and market link, please go to mutual funds or go to proper equity products. Don't go through insurance because the premium there, what do you call, life assurance premium that they take out of your money will be pretty high and it is understandable. So you prioritize insurance. These are crucial pointers when you keep that savings and investment in mind. Prioritize insurance, your health insurance. And life insurance, if you have a debt on your head, which your family will have to repay if something happens to you, and if your family has to sustain itself. Put your debt obligations first. Repay your debt. Always, how do banks, NBFCs make money? They take from you the deposit at a lower rate and they give you at a higher rate. So debt is always more expensive than savings. So pay off your debt first and foremost, always. Save up for emergencies. My thumb rule says 12 months expenses should be in emergency fund. An emergency doesn't only mean I will die. That's not the only emergency. I could lose my job. I could have a medical emergency. I could have some emergency at home which does not allow me to go out and work and earn. The market economy may be so bad that I will get a job of a lower pay. But there's so many reasons why emergencies can come up. And it should take care of your personal expenses and your medical emergency. If I need a bypass emergency, I should have money for it. So 12 months expenses that you decide, where we said earlier we need to plan our monthly expenses. You decide that you should save always. And why I say 12 months? Because by 6 months, you should be able to cover up certain amount of your requirements. And the other 6 months should be able to cover up your medical emergencies. That is why I'm saying. 2, whenever we save and invest, there are one thing that is very, very important. Risk and return are proportionate. 50% return dene wala जो भी investment proposal होगा, पैसा 100% जाने का chances उसमें होगा. There is no miracle or magic pill. There are no miracle investments, and there is nobody who can make 50%, 60%, 30% returns when regular business in the regular mainstream economy can not do it. Don't fall for it. So risk and return are proportionate. Every time you want a higher return, please remember we are also taking a higher risk. These are all crucial points that we need to keep in mind when we plan our financial plan. Don't forget to factor in inflation. As I said, 10 lakhs of medical expense today at 14% inflation, which is the inflation of medical expense today, will mean 1.3 crores after 20 years. So if I say, okay, मेरे पास 10 लाख होना चाहिए, or my monthly expenditure is 50,000, I need 6 lakhs a year, and so 6 lakhs into 10 is 60 lakhs, into 20 is 1 crore 20 lakhs. The day I have 1 crore 20 lakhs, I am comfortable. I don't need, मैं उसके अंदर से अपना घर, नहीं ना, वो 1 crore 20 lakhs will be worth only 10 lakhs of today. तो वो तो मेरा साल भर का expense होगा. So inflation is very important. We'll learn about inflation in the coming slides. Maintain a healthy credit score. Now, this has become extremely important in present days. Earlier, we didn't have these worry about credit score because all this computerization was not there. Banks didn't keep track of how did we repay our debts, small debts, credit card debts. All that is tracked. And when everything is tracked, that means they're scoring you. So the next time you go to take a loan, if you need a loan, let's say you want to put up a hospital. So needing a loan is not always कि मुझे बहुत जरूरत पड़ गई पैसे की इसके लिए करना है. No, for even growth, you want to put up a hospital, you will need to take a loan. At that time, your credit score becomes very important, and you may not even have realized कि मैंने 3-4 credit के card के bill miss कर दिए थे. I paid them late. So what I paid them, और मेरे पास पैसा था, it was not that I didn't want to pay them, I just missed the payment. Your credit score has gone back. And then you get it at a higher rate. It may not be that bad as missing out on certain EMIs, but you will get it at a higher rate. So please track that. Credit cards have to be paid in full. I am very conservative. So personally, I believe never ever keep a debt on credit card. Very expensive, 24 to 36% interest rate. Pay it off. So credit card को use करते वक्त भी बहुत ध्यान रखना चाहिए that we don't overshoot what we cannot pay. So keep a simple checklist in place to keep track of regular payments and to stick to your payment schedules. So what is then personal financing? We've learned some pointers. We've learned what is that we need to keep in mind. We learned what protection should be done. So list out all the income. List out all your needs and goals. And that is not for today, not for 1 month, forever, including retirement. At what age do you want to do? Quantify those needs and goals with timeline. I want so much money in 5 years. I want so much money in 10 years. I will need so much corpus during retirement. Decide what you need to save today. I have this much money. I will need so much money. So now I need to save. Let's say I have today 1 crore. I'll need 6 crores when I retire. So I need to save 5 crores today. And consider post-tax returns. Government अपना inflation, अपना tax नहीं छोड़ेगा. Death and taxes are certain in our life. So consider post-tax returns. So if I need 6 crores after when I retire, understand if I earn 5 crores in that period through my investment and my savings, my 20-30% will go in taxes. So consider and quantify based on post-tax return. Keep in mind both inflation and increase in standard of living. Now, this is something I always emphasize on. Increase in standard of living. We did not need mobile phones 30 years back. Today, we want iPhone. 40-50,000 ka mobile chahiye humko. That is an additional income that came in because of technology, because of standard of living. Today in Mumbai, at least, it is a statistical information that the paper gives every day saying that people are buying bigger homes more post the pandemic because work from home gave them that thought process that we will need more privacy. Then we are buying. We were happy living in 2 BHKs. Now everybody wants a 3 or 4 BHK. So that is again an increase in standard of living. And all of us are going for increase. Foreign tours have increased. Our own tour travel, our eating out, our movie experiences. 10-50 रुपए का ticket था, 300, 400, 500 का ticket खरीदना पड़ता है. And that's not only because of inflation. That's also because of our own needs, our own standard of living becoming better. In India, this is even more important because we're starting from a lower base. US, European countries, they start from a higher base. The standard of living is for them. What is standard of living? The basic thing is necessity in life. For me, my AC is still, my central AC home is still not a basic necessity in life. One day it might become, the way climate is changing. Today also AC kabhi chalu hota hai, raat ko chalu hota hai, dopahr ko chalu hota hai. But for all these other countries, their temperature controlled homes are a standard thing. That is increase in standard of living, which we have a long way to go. And we have to plan for that because that will become, as we grow, we do not want to say, oh, I used to have this in my childhood. Now I have to give up on it. ऐसा नहीं बोलना है. तो फिर उसको भी plan करना. Budget for expenditure and savings. Understand you need to save so much, in which case my expenditure has to be budgeted. I earn 1 lakh, I need to save 60,000. So my expenditure has to fit into 40,000. आई एम नॉट एबल टू फिट माई एक्सपेंडिचर इनटू 40,000, क्या बात करते हो, नहीं हो रहा है, तो फिर सेविंग्स कम हो जाएगा, तो अपने गोल्स और नीड्स को उसके साथ you will have to align it again. So that tweaking will be a constant process till you come to that final figures. And that is very important initially. Before you even start your actual savings and investments, ये जानना बहुत जरूरी है कि किसके लिए सेव कर रहे हैं, इनफ होगा कि नहीं. 5 साल के बाद मर्सिडीज ले ली, 25 साल के बाद पता चला रिटायरमेंट के लिए इनफ पैसा नहीं है, नहीं चलेगा ना. So that is why we need to have this list and this thought process very clear. This itself takes 2-3 months sitting with a financial advisor or sitting with our own thought process, sitting with family and deciding कि हम कौन सा standard of living आज we will live so that we have enough for our retirement. Enough for retirement, you have to understand, I'm not talking about just the basics, because I know a lot of you will say क्या अभी भी हमारे पास enough है. To be able to live the life that would be commensurate with your lifestyle today after 30-40 years when you will not be earning. That is when you need to take care of your post-tax returns, your inflation, and your increase in standard of living. Keep these 3 minds, come at a figure then. You might already have that today. Great. I'm very happy for you. And congratulations. It is all needed if you don't have. If you have it, you have a lot of peace of mind. You have a lot of options to spend it today. ठीक है ना, जितना बड़ा इनकम उतना स्पेंड करेंगे, या मुझे शायद उतना काम ही नहीं करना पड़ेगा. I can go pursue my hobbies which may not earn me income, or I can even spend money on those hobbies because I have enough. So this is not to say, oh, save, invest, नहीं तो बहुत तकलीफ होगा. This is to say that have a very transparent, very clear idea of where we stand, where we need to go, and what we need to do. Where the tweaking will be necessary, if at all it is necessary. Prioritize the future goals and today's spending. That is said, tweaking will be necessary. And then your asset allocation, that's again coming up, will be based on what you need to save today. If you have enough, as I said, you put it in provident fund, you put it in FDs, and you're done. Then रात भर शांति से सो सकते हो. नहीं है तो फिर आपको इक्विटी भी जाना पड़ेगा. You'll have to go for some debt funds also. So a certain amount of greater risk might have to be taken so that you earn more money. And that will have to be taken keeping a lot of things in mind. What is your ability to lose that money? What is your ability to hold on to that investment? That asset allocation will be based on what is your needs, what is your goals, how you are able to prioritize, where are you starting today. You have to be clear of all things before you can even go to the next step. I just have a question to ask Dr. Senthil or anybody else, if you can answer me. Am I going too fast? Am I making sense, or am I not going? I mean, it's too fast, not making sense, and I need to change something. Can somebody please tell me? So I just have a feedback on how it's all going.
I think you are doing fine.
Yeah, everything is fine, madam. We are listening.
Okay, thank you so much. No, I just wanted to be sure that I mean, this is what you wanted when you signed up for the lecture. That's all.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what are those financial goals and needs that we have set? Those are our own life goals. We are putting a monetary value to it. We're saying that, okay, I want to own a car. I want to own a home. I want to go and do dance classes. I want to go on a world tour. These are all what hopes and wishes and desires that we have in life. We put a financial value to it. So when we budget, we plan out how these whole plan of making enough money to fulfill our own life goals, our own needs, desires, will be adhered to. What we will do to be able to have enough money to fulfill our life goals. Common excuse that we hear otherwise is time nahi milta, income not enough today. Pata nahi kahan paisa chala jata hai. At the end of the month, I always said I will earn. I had earned enough. I was always being very careful, but paisa chala gaya. I didn't have enough to save. I know I have to save 50,000 a month, but I didn't have enough to save. Solution: plan, budget, keep a written track record of what are we doing, and we will have a very clear idea of where did we go wrong. Where did the income, do I need to increase my income? Is it possible to increase my income? Or do I need to decrease my expenditure? Is it possible? Or do I need to change my goals? ठीक है भैया, मेरे से Mercedes नहीं होगा. Because with my income and my expenditure today, which I am not able to change, I can't buy a Mercedes. I'll settle down for a Honda or a Toyota or a Maruti. We need to understand and tweak that. So budgeting is very critical. Unless we budget, we will not know where the income stands, where the expenditure stands, where the saving stands. Are we meeting our financial goals? So we need to budget. We need to write it down. This is my income. This is where I stand today. This is all my exit. Every time you go to a financial advisor, he'll tell you how much do you already have, kahan ka dala apne paisa, where are your savings and investment, what do you earn, and then say, okay, now what do you want? How much more money do you need? What is your goals in this? He will even tell you, okay, now you need to save that much. He is leaving you to do the mathematics. I earn so much, I need so much, so I need to save so much. The expenditure can only be so much. That is when you will need your own budgeting plan to say, okay, now how can the expenditure be curtailed? Doesn't you have to go back to the financial advisor? Nahi ho sakta hai. Ye mera expenditure hai. I can't go lower than this. Now let's tweak the financial plan. Maybe I can take a little more risk, or maybe I can decrease my goals and desires. So it's a spending plan on where the income will be split, savings and expenditure. Now we were discussing that inflation eats into our savings a whole lot. What is inflation? Basically, it's a general increase in prices. We all know that prices have increased over a period of time. We may not have the exact percentage, the exact figure. Back of the mind, sabko malum. Whatever medicines you guys have to prescribe, or whatever equipment the doctors have to buy, all that prices have increased. In technical terms, it is basically a decrease in the purchasing power. A vada pav that cost 10 rupees 3 years back will cost 20, today might cost 50 and after 10 years. So it's a decrease in the purchasing power of money, which is called inflation. How much a year on year less can I buy for the same amount of money? That's basically inflation. Very important, because when I'm planning for something 20 years down the line, if I'm planning based on आज ये 10 रुपए में मिलेगा, तो 20 साल के बाद वो 10 रुपए में मैं ले पाऊंगी, नहीं होगा. The next slide tells you that. So what is the real value of money? Real value of money is you adjust it. So what is today's 10 rupee worth after adjusting for inflation after 10 years? So what is the purchasing power that my 10 rupees today will have after 10 years? So our investment has to be such that the real value of money does not decrease. If it should increase or stay stable. Decrease hoga to we will have to then plan to save much more. Then what? Okay, a TV today, I think that's my next slide. Yeah, a TV today will cost you 10,000. You have that 10,000. You're saying, "Theek hai na, aaj nahi buy karna. I'll buy it after 2 years. Today I'm putting it in FD. After 2 years, I'll get a better model, a better brand. Today I get a normal LCD. 2 years, I mean, all these LEDs are coming up. Today it is expensive. 2 years, of course, it will become cheaper because the technology will go that. I mean, there will be that much of advance in technology. Inflation is 8%. FD interest is 6%. So after 2 years, my FD will give me 11,200. But the inflation at 8%, 8% of 10,000 after 2 years will be 11,600. I can't buy the TV after 2 years because I am running short of 400 rupees right now. This is inflation, and this is where the real value of money, the money that I had saved in my FD is now today giving me just what I cannot buy, what that I was able to buy when I put the FD in the bank. So whatever I save has to give me more than that 11,600, more than the inflation of 8%, so that tomorrow I can buy. So this is basically the real value of money, two technological terms that you need to understand when you're sitting with somebody to talk finance: real value of money and inflation. So what is savings and investment? I told you we'll discuss a little bit about these differences. All these in detail you're going to do in the coming lectures that you guys have planned. Saving is where you are more worried about capital protection. मेरा पैसा गुम नहीं होना चाहिए. This is for my short-term requirement, my emergency requirement. So it should be very safe. You keep it in safe. Now I mentioned it earlier, risk return directly proportional, which means I keep this in safe investment avenues, my return will be lower. So the real value of money may actually go down, but I need to keep it in the safest. I need to give it to Government of India. I cannot afford to lose this money. But that is the whole purpose of that short-term requirement, that medical emergency requirement. You can't afford to lose that money. So I will look at the safest investment avenue I have there. So it may not beat. And that is why you keep only that money which you need to be 100% capital protected in that kind of, I would say 95% safe investments. No investment is 100% safe. No investment is another thing that we need to keep in mind. Governments have gone bust. There are times when governments have not paid money. And even if the government pays money, there is a whole lot of economic cycle there. If we have time, I'll discuss that how even government security is not safe. But we'll discuss that if we have time at the end. So no investment is 100% safe. Just like life is not guaranteed, even our money is not guaranteed. We can take the best care that we can, both with our life and with money. There are no guarantees in life. So caution is the key word. You have to be careful. As I said, all investments are to a certain extent risky. We'll go with bank and post office. These are certain kind of safe investments that you can do, where you can put your emergency fund, your short-term requirement fund, savings account, fixed deposits, recurring deposits. And yet we have come across cases like PMC Bank, where all the money, suddenly one fine day, RBI stopped the bank from functioning. So when I say bank deposit, you can say, but kaun sa safe tha PMC Bank? Exactly what I'm saying. There are no guarantees in life. So even when you go for a bank deposit, you have to look at which bank. Everywhere the promoter or the issuer becomes very important. If I put it in, say, SBI, I'm safe. If I put it in some cooperative bank, some small time bank, rural bank, I'm not safe. And that is after considering that 50 lakhs is covered by the government under Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation. What does this mean? Why have I put it here? You can take a certain amount of risk by going with a cooperative bank, a big cooperative bank. Because up to 5 lakhs, but kaun sa 5 lakh hoga wo? 5 lakhs tak you have that insurance, bank insurance, but kaun sa 5 lakh hoga wo? After you have taken that basic protection money, your short-term requirement, medical emergency money, and put it in very safe SBI, Government of India bonds, or maybe large banks. I would not want to name because I don't want to be marketing anybody, but very large banks. Then if you think that I still want to have some money for short-term, 2-3 saal, and the cooperative banks give me better returns, you can put it. But you should be able to wait out if the RBI starts their liquidation procedure. It can take 5. This is India. It's not a developed country where bank can go bust, but your guaranteed money will come back to you the next day. Yahan pe that liquidation process can take 5-10 years. So you should be able to then wait it out. So again, as I said, risk return. Take that risk. The return may come, but there is that risk is there. Then you might have to wait for a longer period of time. Franklin Templeton did that with his debt fund recently. Everybody got their money back, got even good return on it. There was no problem at the end of the but in between, when you wanted money, if you had put it in any of these debt funds, they stopped redemptions. They said, "Abhi nahi redeem karenge." So what do? And if that was my medical emergency, now I need money for you see the PMC story on Google, and you see what then people are crying about. Point is, your medical emergencies, your short-term need funds, your absolutely survival funds can never go in any of these kind of organizations. The issuer becomes very important when safety is concerned. Same thing with company fixed deposits. Again, debt funds, NCDs, bonds, maybe for a longer period of time. So you should be careful. Maybe for 3-4 years, 5 years. Credit rating is very important. Personally speaking, don't go for anything which is less than AA+. I prefer AAA. If I have to tell my clients, I say go only for AAA. Kam paisa milega, but वापस तो मिलेगा. And right now, the market conditions, see, the economy plays a role in a person's ability to repay their loan. The market conditions, with 2 wars going on, with all the other political problems and the pandemic, who knows which company will go bust tomorrow? But there are bigger companies like Tata's, like Bajaj, like maybe Mahindra's, where they will somehow manage. वो जुगाड़ कर लेंगे. That is the hope that you can keep. So that is how you will have to choose each of the individual securities in this subheadings. Provident fund, my favorite savings avenue. The only problem here is it is locked for 15 years. It's a good tax-free return. It's locked for 15 years. Today you get a 7% tax-free return, which almost beats inflation. But it is the safest that you can do, is giving it to the government. So to the extent that our government is safe, this is safe. What is investment? Investment is where you take a certain amount of risk because you want to beat inflation. So you don't put it in very safe avenues. You don't put it in government bonds. You don't put it in provident fund. Here you will take a certain amount of risk because you want to build wealth. You want to beat inflation. You want to be able to ensure a better standard of living tomorrow. So all those things that I told you, high post-tax return after considering inflation and an increased standard of living, this is where you will get it. If you invest well, this is where you will get. What is investment? You give money and get an asset. Now that asset could be anything. We'll do all the assets also, equity, land, gold, whatever. The asset could be real, land. It could be legal, money, or it could be virtual. You know the cryptocurrency stories that are coming up these times. But these all assets will have a value which will vary with time. You will try and choose, or your financial advisor, or all of us, when we are planning our money, will try and choose an asset class which will be able to beat inflation, maintain my standard of living or increase my standard of living, and give me that level of returns over a specific period of time. Investments are also always long-term. Anybody who wants money within 3 months should never go to some of these asset classes. 3 years to 5 years should never go to some of these asset classes. This asset class need time to build wealth. So we want to make returns that will help us to meet our goals and increase the real value of our money. And that is what we do through investment, where the risk is a little higher and the period of investment that you need to keep money is a little obviously higher. This is where you participate in any company's growth, in any economy's growth, in any country's growth. So what are the different asset classes? Cash and cash equivalent, which is meaning your savings bank account, the cash that you keep at home, short-term debt that you may have keep, debt, which are all your long-term fixed deposits or debentures, your bonds, your mutual fund debt funds, equity. Each of these you have planned a complete session on. So I don't want to go into any of these details. What is each of these? How do you choose each of these? These are all individual sessions that you have planned. Equity, stocks, mutual fund, direct investments, insurance, life, medical. Sometimes you might even want to buy a car or a home insurance. Gold, silver, commodities, exchange traded funds, sovereign gold bonds. These are all commodity investments, real estate investments. In real estate, you could actually buy a real tangible real estate like land, house, or a legal real estate like real estate fund. You have REITs coming up right now. Then you have alternate investment options. These are very new options like art. Now, these are also private equity funds who pool money like mutual funds and kind of then buy. I may not be able to buy a Picasso on my own, but if I have a private equity art fund, then maybe the pooled money can buy a Picasso or a MF Hussain. So art, then the crypto, then the private equity funds, which will then invest in maybe startups, venture capital funds. So these would all be alternate investments. How to decide what asset you should invest in? What are the pointers for that? So it is the process. When you sit down and do the asset allocation for yourself, it is the process to decide where will I put the money, my savings and my investments. We always try to balance the risk and reward. I want high reward, but I cannot take high risk. Here, the most important again thing is to know my risk appetite. And all of us are different people psychologically. The doctors here will tell me we have A personality, B personality, C personality. We have so many personality types. Somebody can take risk. I don't care. No, when we drive cars also, somebody drives very safely, very conservatively. Somebody says, "Kya itna thodi dheere se chala sakte hai." The car is meant for a little bit of adventurous driving. Risk is something like that. Even for financial products, I have a different risk appetite than somebody else. I have a client and I am all the time trying to control myself because my client's risk appetite is much higher than mine. So I don't want to stop him. And he says, no, no, karo na. Main bol raha hu na, karo na. And I keep telling him, अरे लेकिन ये credit rating वाला paper मैं नहीं खरीदना चाहती. So, but I want to buy it. So everyone has a different risk appetite. It's very important to know our risk appetite. It's very important to know what kind. And there are two things, not only my personality type, my ability to absorb that risk is very, very important. अब मेरे घर की हालत, मैं कसिनो में जाके पैसा लुटा दूं, वो भी शायद मेरा नेचर होगा, मेरा पर्सनालिटी टाइप होगा. Can my family afford it? Can I do that? Should I do it? So as a financial advisor, this is also what we keep in our mind when we do this kind of advising. You can't afford to take this risk. This is where, if I have, like I said, some of us are very fortunate, some of you I'm sure are very fortunate. Okay, whatever you talk, I have enough money. I can retire tomorrow and I don't have to worry about money for the rest of my life. And I have enough leftover after that retirement corpus also. I will have enough leftover. So enough leftover I can put in a casino also. But that enough leftover is the only money I should put in a casino. So our risk appetite is very, very important, and our risk returns are directly proportional. The higher we risk, the higher. And when I say that risk return meaning मैंने बहुत risk लिया तो मेरा तो return high होने ही वाला है. No, that means the chances of high returns are high. But there are also, we say that risk and return are directly proportionate, we say that the chances of losing all the money is also equally high. Cryptocurrency में डाल दिया, फिर वो cryptocurrency का exchange बंद हो गया. The guy died and didn't give the password. That has happened to some crypto exchanges. Then what? So everything requires a certain level of due diligence. You cannot put even in anything, any money without due diligence. So you have to balance the risk and reward, and you have to know your risk appetite, both as a personality trait and as the starting point of your financial journey. Where are you today? How much money do you have today? Asset allocation is very important because if I want a 15% return, तभी मेरा कॉर्पस रिटायरमेंट का हो पाएगा. बट मैं पीपीएफ के ऊपर डालूंगी नहीं भाई, मेरा तो होगा ही नहीं, वहां तो 7% ही मिलने वाला है. सो हाउ डू आई एलोकेट माय asset will determine the success of my financial planning. I have planned something, but if my asset will not be able to earn that return, then I will not be as successful at the end of my journey. I won't have the money that I want. Each asset class has a different risk and return. So each will different. See, now this is very funny. Asset class per se will have a different risk and return. So equity will always be, I will talk only about, where are we now? We go to, sorry. Equity will always be more riskier than debt. But again, even in debt, individual papers will work differently. Just like I said, bank FD should be the safest. आपने पीएमसी में पैसा डाला, पीएमसी बैंक में, वो कितना सेफ है वो तो अभी हिस्टोरिकल डेटा है. आपने अगर लार्सन एंड टुब्रो के शेयर्स खरीदे होते उसी पैसे से, या टाटा कंसल्टेंसी खरीदे होते, या हिंदुस्तान लीवर खरीदा होता, तो वो कितना सेफ है, हिस्टोरिकल डेटा है. सो इट इज नॉट लाइक इक्विटी क्लास एज अ होल इज अनसेफ और मोर रिस्कियर एंड डेट एज अ होल इज लेस रिस्कियर. ऐसा जनरलाइज नहीं कर सकते. सो after having said asset allocation, individual choices of paper, of security also becomes important. Because even within there will be some papers which are more riskier, some which are less riskier. But don't ever forget the direct proportionality of risk and return. So Hindustan Lever, TCS, L&T may be lower risk in the equity class, but then of course, they will not give you the same return as a small cap will give you, which is higher risk. And the small cap may be more riskier than a cooperative bank FD. So it is all a mixture of a lot of things that you have to keep in mind when you allocate your asset, and within that asset when you finalize the individual paper. So there's no right formula for, there's nobody can tell you, okay, everybody above 50, itna equity mein dalo, itna debt mein dalo, nothing. Everybody has to sit down with their financial planner and or with their own knowledge and decide their asset allocation for themselves, considering where they are, where they want to reach, what are the stops they want in between, what is their risk appetite, what is their ability to hold on to that risk. So there's no standardized formula that anybody can give you. So say every individual's goals, needs, risk appetite, investment horizon, age. A 20-year-old can take more risk. A 20-year-old with a family backing and support, financial support, can take definitely more risk than a 20-year-old whose father has taken loan to educate him. So everybody's position in life will be different. And in that sense, everybody's financial plan will be different and everybody's asset allocation will be different. Life insurance, we've already discussed, should depend on your age, your dependence, your starting financial position, what debts have you taken in life, and appropriate and adequate health insurance is very important. This also is something that is again individual. As I said, you go through your age, your predisposed, and always remember the inflation part. I have my own personal experience. What insurance I took for my mother at when she was 60 is so insufficient today. And not only is it insufficient today, the insurance have changed the terms. So today, everything is, there is a cap on everything. The room rent caps every other procedure, reimbursements that I will get. Now, that was not what we decided. So if I took a 5 lakh insurance for her 25 years back, I thought that was good. उस टाइम में तो 5 लाख में बहुत अच्छा फर्स्ट क्लास में bypass हो सकता था. Now today the insurance company tells me your room can only cost 5,000 and all the other expenditure will be commensurate or proportionate to your room rent. So if you go to a first class, then if that room costs you 10,000, so we'll only give you 50%, but then I will only give you 50% for medicine, I'll only give you 50% for surgery, I'll only give you 50% for everything else. And that's where I get into trouble. So that all has to be taken care when you take health insurance, and then we top it up. Because you have to realize that that is what we will face. Terms change ho gaye. I have never ever used up that 5 lakhs in any single year, the complete 5 lakhs. But I am still in trouble. I can't afford in Mumbai at least with that 5 lakhs, I can only get a general class now. So that's how difficult it becomes as you age. So all these points have to be taken into mind when we sit down and do this today. Today, financial scenario is getting a little more difficult than it was in our parents' time. My parents could decide, theek hai na, FD mein dal diya. Because first of all, financial investment avenues were very few. We didn't have that many investments. Plus, interest would always beat inflation. So they didn't have to worry. Plus, there were government controls on the companies that came out with public issues. So even in equity market, 90% of the times, if you stuck to certain amount of due diligence, you didn't go wrong. Today, everything has changed. So we need to be more careful. General rule is that as you age, your portfolio has to become more safer, which means people say that you should remove from equity, put it in debt. You have a lot of mutual funds that do that. Give you your age appropriate asset portfolio, asset allocation of debt and equity. I still insist it is individual. Because for a lot of you who are professionals earning well, even when you grow older. Now, when we grow older, we are not going to blow up all our money. We are Indians. We want to leave something for our children. Some inheritance we want to live. After living a very happy and very very fulfilled life, whatever is left behind, you still work. Even when you know that you can live a retired life, you're still working for professional fulfillment, and also whatever money you make, you say, okay, बच्चों के लिए छोड़ के जाएंगे. तो उसके लिए, if you have enough, and if you still can put in equity, and you are not somebody who says, okay, by the time I die, most of my investments or my savings or my money would be over, you don't have to necessarily go into safer avenues. So this is something, again, which I say is individualized. Hold safer instruments for short-term needs. I'll just go back to the previous point. But yes, if we are somebody who is planning in that sense that if I retire, I'll need 6-7 crores, and 6-7 crores of that day's value, then I need, and I have only so much. So I essentially need to plan that. Then yes, as you grow older, you start going to safer. Why do you go to safer avenues? Pandemic 2019. I do not know how many of you remember the 2008 Lehman Brothers moment. So it's known as the Lehman Brothers moment. It was a big thing in financial market. But if you don't remember, we all remember the 2019-20 pandemic. Markets fell. Though that same market fell from 45-50 to 30 and has now gone to 60. But if my retirement fund is completely in the market, I suddenly found my retirement fund going down to almost 50%, 60%. I needed that fund. I was living on that fund. I can't afford it to go down that much. And if this war goes on for a little longer, maybe we will see that same kind of market again. That kind of person who is every month expenditure coming out of his retirement fund has to slowly start going towards safer avenues. At least some amount, like at least my next 12 months ka expenditure should come from safer avenues. So market gira, war chalu raha, mera paisa mujhe mil jayega what I need. Then to again come to a situation that the PMC depositors are saying we don't have money to buy medicines or food would not be right. So if all the money in equity, which is what we may do right now at 30, 40, because we wanted to earn that kind of return, will not make sense when we're 60, 70. Certain money starts shifting to more safer avenues. So that, as I said, depends again where you are and what your financial position is. Short-term needs whole safer instruments. FD, bank ka, ya post office ka, ya koi safe company ka FD. Because you may need it in short term and that time what the market condition is. And markets depend so much on, not only on Indian conditions, also on geopolitical conditions, world economy. Pandemic was kisko malum tha. I mean, sudden thing that came up. So it is very important that those at least we don't want to worry about. 6 months to nikal jayega, 1 saal to nikal jayega, but at time things do settle down. Again, I'm repeating, no asset is 100% safe or 100% risky. At any given point of time, it is depending on the issuer, the economy, the industry. Today, maybe pandemic. Hotel industry is doing fantastic today. Pandemic, hospitality industry, the hotels had to be closed down, the restaurants had to close down for at least 3-4 months. They were in bad days. So there is no 100% safe or 100%. For anybody who's retiring and needs safe money, I tell them there only one avenue, and that's go to for very, very safe FDs. Or quite, there's nothing else which is 100% safe. There are companies which will somehow manage to dip into its reserves, just like we should be able to do, to dip into our reserves in cases of emergencies and manage our obligations. Companies who can do that. So those kind of, then the issuer becomes important. The promoter's niyat, intention becomes important. So periodic review of portfolio is required. Periodically, you have to see how is the company doing, how is the economy doing, how is this industry in particular doing. To periodically review our portfolio. As I said, I give a thumb rule saying less than 1 year's emergency and cash requirement should be in cash and cash components. Debt is held for less than 5 years. Anything that you don't need for 5 years, you can put it in equity. All other asset classes, if you're really very rich and can afford to, wait for a longer period of time, have investors, advisors who will help you understand that asset class. We know real estate is not that easy in India. Even the legality is very difficult. Gold, silver are used as hedge against currency, but they move so much with the dollar and with oil prices that we are not sure. Today it can be down, tomorrow. We have not seen gold going down for 5 years, but then we've seen gold being stagnant for 5 years also. So it is always easy if you use gold or silver as an investment avenue to go for ETFs or gold bonds. Actual gold or silver, but difficult to sambhalna. Okay, gold and silver can also be for snob value. Now that's a different story. Just like I can buy a car, it's not an investment. It is a standard of living snob value. My Mercedes is no investment. Gold and silver can also be there. I love gold jewelry. I love diamond jewelry and I put them on. That is not what we consider investment or savings. Buying gold and silver specifically as a commodity for investment, go for ETFs. You have those gold bonds or gold traded funds on the market. And that is easier. It's a paper. You can hold it. Government or any mutual fund kind of holds it for you. Government even comes up with the sovereign gold bonds, which you can actually give back for real physical gold. So that is some important points. Real estate is, I'm just going through the list of assets that we put earlier. As I said, each of these you're going to do in detail. So I'm just running through some of these points. Real estate in India is illiquid. We know that. Again, the markets can go up and down anytime. It's not a transparent business. In one building itself, the two homes can fetch you to 2 different prices. So in that case, REITs may be better. Again, it's like a mutual fund which collects portfolio. You have Wellspun doing that for logistics parks today with so many warehouses coming up. Wellspun has a REIT one. This all requires very high investment. AIFs, These all require very high investment. So you can do this only if you have that kind of money. AIFs, the minimum investment required is 1 crore. So the risk that you take, so that's the level of money that you have to have. This is all for ultra HNIs. That's the level of money you have to have, free money, that you will put in this kind of avenues. So you'll put it in art, you'll put it in some private equity, which will then in turn invest in some startup. And everyone knows startup is a risk business. Can become a Nykaa or Paytm, can go also bust, like Byju's is facing problem today. It can be art, it can be collectibles, crypto, private equity, but you will require advisors, because then these are a lot of legal maze that you have to pass through this with the market, the valuations. So it's always better to go with a SEBI registered intermediary. Any intermediary you use for any financial advisor, go through a SEBI registered intermediary. There are some reasons. One, they are all regulated. Two, they cannot missell. They will missell. I'm not saying that all will not missell. There will be always black sheep in any group, but they're at least regulated. You can complain against them. They have knowledge. They have to pass exams. They are not somebody जो market tip देगा, और market tip पर कभी कुछ नहीं करने. So, as we have said, asset allocation is one of the most important decisions that investors make. I know I'm running out of time, so I'll just try and run it. Start early. I am not going to go through this slide because I think you have Dr. Dedia who's going to talk about the power of compounding. Then he will explain this power of compounding much better. But yeah, start early is something which is best. Start even small investments and savings with the first salary or the first income that you make. This is very important. Behavioral finance. Yeah, human beings. Nothing is just plain automated robotic decision for us. We let our emotions also. That is why we never find two doctors having the same opinion, or two lawyers having the same opinion. Everyone has their opinion because a lot of our emotions, our past experiences, our past feelings have come into this. So the psychological factors also influence. It is very important to be aware of them and to keep a watch on them. So that is what most investors tell us. Successful investors tell us that you are your own worst enemy. Why? Fear. अरे मार्केट गिर गया, अभी सारा पैसा निकाल लो, कल बहुत ज्यादा गिरेगा. So that without understanding how the market functions, if we do this, then we are our worst enemy. Then the market goes up. Like Lehman Brothers, I do not know how many of you remember that 2008 story. It was a panic button, and I had my best investors. One of the reasons why I stopped doing so much of retail financial advisory services, my best investors who did not buy money, did not need money, were buyers in the market, panicked. How did you not know? How come you never told us? You are our investor. You should have known this level. And now mera sab nikal do markets. And they could tell them, calm down. The whole world is in that position. You are not the only one. Just take a chill pill. Are you needing the money right now? Is there an emergency surgery scheduled for tomorrow? Is there an emergency debt obligation that you have to meet tomorrow? No, I don't know. I was planning on buying, but look at your market today. This is the best time to buy. अगर आप कहीं जाते हो और पैसा सेल में देखते हो कोई भी प्रोडक्ट, are you happy or are you not happy when you want to buy it? With markets, why is it the other way around? Why are you scared when the market falls to buy? So that psychological fears, psychological greeds that we go through is what we need to be cautious about, aware about. Investing is also a very mindful business. So we are hardwired to look for shortcuts. अरे मेरे बाजू वाले ने स्क्रिप्ट पे 25% बनाया, वो बोला 3 महीने में ये डबल हो जाएगा, आज ही उसके अंदर पैसे डालना है. Hardwired. We don't want to study. We don't want to go through your doctors again. I keep repeating because the medical profession is a profession where you have to be so aware. You have to study so much. You have to be updated so much that that there are no shortcuts. A treatment has to run its course. Your education has to run its course. You have to continuously update yourself with your knowledge. Same thing goes for finance also. So there are no shortcuts. Don't look for shortcuts. Find a good financial, just like you trust your doctor, and all of us have to find a good financial advisor. Try him with small amounts of money initially, and then learn to trust him. And then sit down with him every time you're scared. Let him work out the logic with you, and then take your decision. So which are these different cognitive biases, emotional biases that can stop us from making that long-term rational decision and when it comes to financial planning? Overconfidence. मुझे सब मालूम, मेरा neighbor है ना एकदम expert. I have heard people tell me that he is right hand of that person. वो सब जानता है. उसके कहने पर बोलूंगा I don't have to do anything. Anchoring. Anchoring meaning I heard two good news. I invested in Reliance, which I heard one good news, then two good news, and then Reliance went up by 20. Now it's going down, but I won't believe it. But that confirmation bias, which is second thing that comes in, I believe it to be good, so I will not let the negative news affect me, even when they're important, even when I should pay attention to it. Or I believe a negative news. फिर कितना भी अच्छा वो, for example, I'll give you. If a person believes the small cap is bad or बहुत risk है, then कितना भी अच्छा small cap होने दो, वो नहीं जाएगा. Because it says no, small cap very risky. So these are all confirmation biases where we have some bad experience which we carry forward for the rest of our life. Follow the fact. This is very common with all of us. Dunya jo, I have, I mean, we were discussing this yesterday, that we look at what the mutual fund is buying on a month-on-month basis. Say, हाँ, mutual fund ने सब देखो 4 mutual fund ने ये खरीदा तो हमको भी खरीदना चाहिए. आपका 1 महीने पहले का रिपोर्ट है वो. उस 1 महीने में क्या न्यूज आया और म्यूचुअल फंड ने क्या किया आपको नहीं पता चलता. तो म्यूचुअल फंड डजंट गिव यू अ डे-टू-डे रिपोर्ट. राकेश झुंझुनवाला ने खरीदा तो खरीदना चाहिए, because that is the news on in the market. This man bought, that fund bought, this one bought. Do your own homework. Don't do it like that. Don't follow the her. वो तो smart है, वो अपने homework से खरीदता है. He will get out with homework. You will be left because that news may not come to you that he bought, but he also got out. Loss aversion. This is very common. I know I do this a lot of times. I bought. Now that whole effort of taking the money out, let remain. No, ठीक है ना, वो 4% return देगा तो भी चलेगा. But there's another script which is giving you 15% return. Equally good script with equal risk. So why you want to keep it at risk? That effort needed to remove the money, they do the research on some other company, come up with another better investment option, then put the money there. We are loss aversion. We want that status quo. चलो ना, छोड़ो ना, डाला है ना, जब तक पैसा नहीं lose होता है ना, I am not worried. FOMO, fear of missing out. This happens in our markets going up. In all bull markets, you see this. At 60 now, you'll have a lot of people. At 65, 67, there will be herds coming in. But 40 पर किसी को नहीं डालना था because डर था. COVID है, क्या होगा मालूम नहीं, कल जिंदा रहेंगे कि नहीं मालूम नहीं. So we don't want to put in. But now it's all going down. Nobody expects the market to go down. Everything is going up. It will continue to go. Just believe that what is going up will continuously grow up. Market will go down. Fact of life, historical fact of life. It will go down. Whether you are prepared for it when it goes down is all you can do. Take the best scripts you can have. Look at the market's potential, the script's potential, the economy's potential, and see whether you have that ability to tide it over. Greed, again, follow the pack. Greed, easy money. This is not only for stock markets. There have been scams and scams and scams, and yet they happen with very good people. You see how many cyber scams happen these days where they said, link पर press करो आपको 50,000 रुपया मिलेगा. You won this lottery, you've gotten this gift. You can get easy money. You put it in, they see you, I will make you 20%, and then after 3 times of making 20% on 200 rupees, he will tell you to put 20,000 rupees and that money is gone. Why did it happen? Greed. So these are certain common behavioral biases, cognitive biases that we have to be careful of when we plan our investment. This I am through. I hope it made sense and I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, madam. It was very nice, very nice. And we loved your energy. Almost you were on for 1.5 hours. But I think it very much suits to call you as a teacher. So basically,
thank you so much.
Very nice. And so maybe we can take some questions. It was very comprehensive. I think whatever you have given, though we'll be discussing in the detail over the coming weeks, but definitely a very comprehensive presentation of what is the personal finance. Any questions from the audience? Please unmute and you can ask. Before I ask questions, I would like the audience to interact. Maybe you can tell us what you felt about the talk, whatever. I think let's have it more interactive. So if there are no questions, maybe I will start off with my question. Madam, generally having a financial advisor, there is a lot of concern, like why should he have a financial advisor? Is he not going to make extra money from us? And there is a lot of uh, fear on having a financial advisor. So what is your opinion about having an advisor? Should we have one, or is it okay for him to make a little bit money, but still he is going to provide a lot of better services? So what is your suggestion on having a financial advisor?
I will try and answer this with an example. I go to a doctor.
Yeah.
I can go on Google, put in my symptoms. Will you ever suggest any of your patients? I have doctors who have fired me for doing that. Sometimes I go with Google and say, sorry, aisa ho gaya. Haresh Bhai is my cousin. And if I go with Haresh Bhai with Google, he tells me, here's the door, get out. Tell your Google only to give you solution. So what happens is, trying to do it ourselves. One, do you have the time to do it yourself? Two, the complexity of the whole field. The different assets that are available. You will learn over a period of time. There are so many mutual funds. There's so many schemes. There are so many different avenues available for each of these. There's so many debt funds, so many equities. We won't even know where to go when it comes to private equity. We don't even know what laws govern those things. And finance has today become a very governed, very fortunately, very governed field. Very regulated field, very fortunately. There were times when people take our money and run away. In the equity market also, in the debt market also. Our NCDs were worth zero. Our equity, we had to tear off our certificates because the promoter is not found. You don't have those kind of problems today. And the reason is because you have SEBI today. RBI has become very strong. So all these regulation means there are more laws to fulfill. At the same time, we are more safer. You need, especially when you're going to do any of these AIFs or any of these real estate or any of that kind of investment, you will need a financial advisor. Even for simple investments, you're doing Government of India bonds, the procedure to do that, fill out the form, go to the office, go deposit the money there, all that takes time. Who will do it for you? Do you have the time to do that yourself? Then the days you lose out because aaj karunga, I will do it today. I'm sorry. I just saw in the chat that I'm not supposed to use too much of Hindi. Sorry. A Mumbaikar not using Hindi becomes very difficult, but I'll try. What was it? Yeah.
The advice.
The time you postpone your investment decision because you don't have time today to take that decision or to do the logistics necessary to complete that decision, you lose out on that. So yes, and another thing I'm saying is that is why I kept harping was go with a SEBI registered advisor. And SEBI also registers their fees.
Okay.
So it's not as if we can charge very high money from you. We cannot charge any exorbitant commission from you because everything is registered. See, if you go for a mutual fund, I'll give you an example for this. If you go for equity, your broker can get only that small 0.5% or something brokerage when he does that trade for you. So then when you go for mutual fund advice, the mutual fund gets commission from the mutual fund industry, which is also regulated. So it's not going to be more than 1-2%. But the peace of mind that you get, you're able to call up your broker. I had clients, it was very funny, clients who was a surgeon and an anesthetist, South Mumbai hospital, they would be in the operation theater early in the morning, 9 o'clock, they would call up and say, Kavita, what happened to this stock? And we used to have that banter on the phone saying, bye, please, you are doing surgery. Can you please concentrate on that? That some live person is on the table there. Say, you tell me what is this? Is everyday story. I do this every day. You tell me what is the stock price. So he wouldn't have been able to do this. Can you do this trading on the surgical theater? You can't. You will need somebody to do it. You need somebody to take that call for you. And you have no choice. I
Yeah.
mean, in this very, very, what do you call, regulated, very complex world, where is the choice? Two, even if you want to buy, for example, some instrument, medical instrument, you go through the due diligence. You just don't go and say, okay, ye kharid lenge. Go through the due diligence. You might even ask people who, it's a pretty expensive instrument, you might even ask for demos from the people. So there also, you show a certain amount of due diligence. You'll have to show the same due diligence. That is what I said. Try out your advisor. Small amounts of money. See if the level of advice is giving. See the level of information he's giving. Also see the level of service he's giving. If he says, I am not available for, I mean, you give me money today, don't call me up for 3 months. Not fair. We hand-to-hand. We had these customers who were very rich, never needed that money, were not going to need it, were leaving it for the children, crying because Reliance was down by 50% during the Lehman Brothers 2008. And I kept telling, buy. What are you crying? I had only 2-3 investors who said, Kavita, let's start buying. Because everyone said, kya ho gaya, kya ho gaya, kya ho gaya. But then we had to handhold to those people at that point of time. We can't say, tumhara paisa tum jaan. No? So you need investors who are going to be with you. As I said, even that financial behavioral psychology of investing has to be kept in mind by an investor. I
So
hope
then,
that answers that.
yes, madam. So basically, the next question is having an advisor is important, as you said. How do we select the advisor? Like, what is the certification you said about SEBI registration? Do they have a certificate, or how
Yes.
do we actually
They will have a
select?
certificate. The certificate very clearly states what they are allowed to do, what fees they are supposed to also give you complete disclaimer on what services they will give you, what services they are allowed to give, what fees they are allowed to charge, what commissions they get from somebody. So that complete. See, if somebody says, why is it you have this? I'm making you so much money. No, don't go with that person. Why should I not be transparent with you? Why should I not tell you what is my job? The certificate very clearly states what I can do and what I cannot do, and what level of money I can make out of. Ask them for all that. Sit down, talk to them if they want to manage money and earn money out of you. See, even with doctors, patients do that, no? When they come to you and they have to give, I mean, all these MBBS, GPs, when they come to a GP who is always the first interface for a patient, they will say, no, sir, opinions, don't they go to 3 people? You ask them for surgery and they'll say, we will take a second opinion. So why should you not do the same thing? So, okay, fine, I need to check out. I need to check out with people. You will have references. Patients come to you with the same thing. Somebody had a very good experience with you. They'll come to you. They'll refer somebody else. You will also have friends who have had good experiences with certain advisors. You'll have to do that. Yeah. But yes, there is a proper, I mean, black and white certificate given by SEBI.
Yeah. And let's say I start with a financial advisor, and is there like a benchmark? Let's say in mutual fund, I put money with, let's say I put 10 lakhs with an advisor. And is there like an average, like if the fund is not performing less than, if the money is not growing more than 12%, does it mean my advisor is bad? Or is there any benchmark for an advisor? Because I have some friends who say my advisor gives me 18% returns every year in mutual funds, and some of the time my advisor I don't see giving me more than 12-13%. So
it
what
will depend on what profile you have given him. Your risk reward will differ. You may have told him, you ask me very clearly, I have my personal benchmarks are very clear. I will be happy with 13-14%. I am not taking any risk. Don't go to small cap, don't go to mid cap. Okay. Stick to my Hindustan Levers and my LNTs and my TCS, mujhe chalega. I am okay with that. As if that is your profile that you've given to your broker, your advisor, then he will match that profile. But if you have given him a profile saying, I'm ready with small cap, mid caps, I want to make a little more, and he's not able to match it for you, then you need to think. One more information I want to give everyone here is, your advisor, you're not married. In finance, you have to remember one thing about everything. You're not married to anything. Not to your advisor, not to your portfolio, not to your asset, not to your equity. I mean, whatever scripts you or whatever papers you hold, nothing. You can change. Okay. Even with your advisor, you can change. You can tell, I don't want to keep my mutual fund portfolio with you. write a letter to the mutual fund or go to a new advisor, tell him, please pick up my portfolio. He'll give you all the forms that you need to fill, pass on the complete portfolio to a new advisor. So it's not like that advisor can say, okay, take a walk. I got your money. Now I will get commission on it. I don't care. He can't tell that because you can always change it.
It's not like the auditor. Auditor, it's a little difficult to change the auditor, but what you say is advisor, we can always change him.
Even auditor can only be with you for 3 or 5 years max, sir. Otherwise, the auditor also has to be changed. You can't keep the same auditor for lifetime. In fact, that's not allowed legally. The auditor has to change after certain years.
Madam, the next question is, when we start investing through these platforms like ICICI Direct, do they also charge this fees? Like, do they take that 0.5%, 1%?
In mutual fund, okay, in equity, let's put it this way. How do I put it? If I go with asset class, okay, that will be easier. When you go for bonds, normally bonds or FDs, you will go through either directly to the company, like you want Bajaj Finance or you want Mahindra Finance, will go through them, or you'll go through some broker.
Yeah.
You get your percentage interest irrespective of the money that the bank pays the broker.
Okay. Okay.
When it comes to bonds, if you buy it from the primary market, again, you will get it at whatever bond interest you have. If you buy it from the secondary market, there will be a certain markup to the face value. So your yield will be lower than the interest that is mentioned there. And your broker will include his brokerage in the price that he's giving you. Like I bought a bond recently. REC ka one bond I bought was 10 lakh rupees. I got it for 10,45,000. So the price that I got had an inbuilt brokerage component in it. And I negotiated that price a little bit with my broker, saying, no, I want it, give me a better price. That somebody else is giving me at a better price. Because I'm a financial advisor, I had that option to do that for my client. I'm not a broker. I'm not a broker, which means I can't go on the trading platform and do the trade myself. I had to do it through a trading platform, a trading broker. I could do that, but yes, it is inbuilt in it. That's for bonds. Then equity, they get their brokerage, and the brokerage finally you get that equity. When you pay, let's say I see 1,200 on the screen, and say, okay, I want to buy Hindustan Lever. Yeah. The final bill you get will be always, I bought 10 Hindustan Lever at 1,200, 12,000 rupees. Final will be always higher because on equity you will have brokerage. Every platform has different brokerage. You can be charged 20 rupees irrespective of the money that you buy or sell. The percentage will not matter there, or you will have a percentage base like 0.5%, which is what most people might charge of the value that you are purchasing. Then you have STT, GST, what do you call, exchange tax, a whole lot of other things, which will add up another 0.5%. That depends on which broker you're using. That equity, yes, the brokerage is there and the broker can charge anything depending on your negotiation with them. Mutual funds, there are two schemes in mutual funds. If you're very good at finding out for yourself, you can go online and go out for a direct scheme of mutual fund, in which case no commission is paid to anybody and your NAV will always be different because there will be no commission component deducted from the money that you put in. So go through a broker because you are not able to choose the correct scheme for yourself, or you don't want to go through the hassle of having to go through direct, putting on your profile on the website and doing the investment through website. In that sense, the broker will put his own brokerage code, his own broker code on your form, and he will fill up your form, which case he'll get a commission. Again, I said that is standardized, and it's around 0.5% to 0.6%, something somewhere around that percent.
Okay. And out of the existing platforms like ICICI Direct and Zerodha, and some platforms claim that they don't charge anything. So do you have any suggestions, like which is the better platform?
I will not suggest, sir. For very simple reason. I also got my own, as I said, I'm personally extremely conservative with my clients' money, especially. So I will not suggest a single platform unless you know the people. I have a problem. Maybe I'm old now. So I need to know the person whom I'm dealing with and whom I'm giving my money. The youngsters are very happy with Zerodha. Here my problem is, if something happens tomorrow, who do I go and talk to?
Okay.
So you might be happy saying 5 paisa is okay. I'm saying 20 rupees is okay. I finally need a grievance redressal system that I understand.
I understand. Okay. So
Again,
other,
it is, as I said, it is your comfort zone, but these are all the things that you need to keep in mind. Their
yeah,
grievance redressal system is faceless. I want to be able to walk into somebody's office and shout if I really reach that position.
okay, I understand. Madam, the other, are there any questions from the audience? I think I have been asking a lot of questions. So, if there is any question, please ask. Everybody is silent. I don't know. Everybody just wants to listen.
Hello, can I ask?
Yeah. Please introduce yourself, madam.
Yeah. I'm Dr. Shapna.
Yeah.
Yeah, madam, a very good talk, quite comprehensive. I just had a few doubts. How much does a financial counselor cost? Like, what does it depend on?
It will all depend on what you are asking that person to do. If you are asking them to do everything, they may say that, okay, our fees for planning your whole financial plan will be so much, and whatever we earn out of all the, I mean, again, are you going to do all the placements through them? So are you their wealth managers? You have all kinds of people in registered with SEBI. You have wealth managers registered with SEBI who will say, give me your money, I'll manage for you. You have PMS, portfolio management services. Again, same thing. They say, you give me your money, we'll decide your asset class in consultation with you. Then there are all these agreements that you sign with them, all legal papers that you say, and then fine, we'll manage for you. So what are you asking them to do? Is finally, which will decide 99% of them usually will not charge any fee for doing this for you if you give them some upfront money. They have that minimums that they need. They want some 25, 50 lakhs from you. They will do it for you. And they won't charge fees for this because they get that brokerage from whatever churn of money they do on your behalf.
If it is just for making a basic financial plan, like,
So then they will
which
charge
asset
based on how much more complicated you want it made. Then they will. It will all depend on how much information you go with and how much more complicated you want it.
Can I starting?
Again, as I said, very difficult. If you
Very
just
basic, very
from
basic.
10 lakh rupees or 15 lakh rupees or 20 lakh rupees, I might charge you only 10,000 rupees. If you want a 2
Okay,
crore
so something
plan,
like
then
that.
it will depend accordingly.
Okay. And ma'am, just one more question. What is your opinion about chit funds? Because they also promise some 15% and all sometimes. So
Risk reward. You want 15%, be prepared for a higher risk.
it's a higher risk instrument.
Of course, it's a higher risk institute because the regulatory mechanism there is a little more lenient. I know there are a lot of my own, I mean, the people who work at my home, I do not know if there is a same word is used to pan India. They call it VC. Where there is in small people collecting money from each other on a monthly basis. They come up with a chit and then they decide, okay, today you get all the money and tomorrow you get all the money. Everybody contributes on a monthly basis. One person gets it all the money on a monthly basis. Very dangerous. Very dangerous. And I have no idea why in a very inclusive, the last 5-10 years that we've become very inclusive in our banking system, why would people still not want to go to the bank?
Okay, just asking.
No, sure, ma'am. You should get all your doubts clear.
Yeah, thank you so much.
One more question.
Yeah, please go ahead, Dr. Sachin.
Yeah. Any
Yes.
investment, if it doubles in 3 years, it's supposed to be good. If an investment takes, suppose 5 years or 7 years or 10 years to double, then how should we consider it as an investment? Can you throw some light on this, ma'am?
Which investment will double in 3 years, sir? Even I would like to know.
No, sir. No, ma'am. It is mentioned, if you just Google it, it is very difficult to double it in 3 years. I know that. But
sir, that is all
suppose,
scams.
okay, forget that 3 years. Suppose it is 5 years, okay?
So, see, again, let's not get into those kind of things because Google is pan world. It's very global. So sometimes it gives you information which is based on some other country. Let's put it here. Today, inflation in India is higher than inflation in any European or US country. which means our returns have to be higher than returns there. US, historically, the inflation was always only 2-3%, which means that interest, I mean, they really did not need very high returns to be able to tide over their retirement plans. In US gives you social security. There, it gives you medical health, medical insurance, even when after you've stopped working. The requirements here are different. Normally, how do you decide what is the return that you should get? You know, everybody says 15%, we should get 15%, we should get 18%. How do you decide that? That is what was the slide talking about. Your return should meet inflation, post-tax inflation, and it should meet a little bit of increased standard of living. My thumb rule is it should be double the inflation. So if your country's inflation stands today at 6 to 7%, it should be 14-15%. 7% is our inflation today. The return should be 14. Tomorrow, our inflation, when we become more developed, as we gradually go towards that road, our inflation comes down to 3%, then you don't need more than 6-7% return. So that is how we look at return. How much do you need for what you, so don't look at which investment is giving me better return. The point is that investment will also come with higher risk. What you need is, that is why that whole financial planning is necessary. What money do I need? When do I need it? Am I in a position to get it with today's income and expenditure? What do I need to do to get to that place? And what is my risk profile? Can I take the necessary risk? So the 3-year money doubling is a pretty risky proposition. So if you say that somebody is ready to do that, please understand the project very well. 99% of the time, it will be that, you know, I do not know. Again, these are all because we are all been in this market for so long. We remember those old stories. We used to have every day pages of advertisement in paper of thick wood formations. Plantation, buy plantations, buy 100 thick wood plants. In 15 years, we'll give you this return. All these used to come. The older generation here must remember all those. But then all of them went bust. And be careful with those. So your investment is good if it meets your goals and needs. It meets what you have planned out to meet. And you can still sleep peacefully at night.
Just a small question, ma'am. Like when we start learning about investments and trading and all that, so whatever channel you go to, there'll be experts saying that this like Sensex is going to go and touch 1 lakh and it's going to go through the roof and all that. And even on platforms, they will say like this is like 80% people are saying buy and 70% people are saying buy, and these are expert opinions. So like we get carried away, of course, the retail investors like us, we usually get carried away. So is there any kind of on those people, because they're supposed to be financial experts and all, like can you suggest some channel or some place where we can get a good authentic information?
You have your financial advisor for that. No place, no. See, today, I mean, that has also been a regulatory problem. We had financial influencers who used to say all these things. SEBI is now in the process of regulating them also, because everybody realizes that and which is again answering Dr. Senthil's question when he says that, do I need a financial advisor? The point is, when you don't have a financial advisor, where will you go for a financial advice? Then you'll go to all these sites. And then there will be this so-called experts. But the so-called expert is not putting his qualification or his registration on that site. So how do you know he's an expert in the first place? If you are an ophthalmologist, you in your own dispensary, consulting room, you put your degree there. Which financial expert is showing you that on his site? So that today SEBI is trying to do that also. Regulate people who are giving this kind of advice on the internet. But that becomes very difficult. You can stop 100 people from doing it, saying, no, you need to get our license. There'll be another 100 more sites coming up with different names. Extremely difficult. We know it is very difficult to regulate the internet. It
No,
is very
not only
important
on
for
the
us.
internet, ma'am, even on the TV channels, like you get so many people.
Yeah, even TV channels, all these business news that you hear. I will give you only
Yes.
one example, and which is why Haresh Bhai is adamant all the time. Do your own homework. I keep going back to that Lehman Brother moment. I had these clients telling me, why did this happen? Why did this happen? And I kept laughing and saying, Alan Greenspan didn't know this would happen. P. Chidambaram, who was a finance minister at that point of time, didn't know this was going to happen. Y.V. Reddy, who was our RBI governor at that point of time, had gone to, you guys must be reading in papers that the central bank governors of a lot of these very important countries go to that place in US, which is it called, where they have these meetings every year. Y.V. Reddy comes back from that meeting and starts putting controls in our banking system. Fortunately for India, we have, no matter how much people cry, we have very good regulators. So he gets trolled by everyone, by MB Kamath of ICICI Bank at that point of time, by Chidambaram as a Minister of Financing. He's not ready to listen to us. He comes back scared of what is happening in those countries, of the way regulation has been liberated in those countries and the way the market is moving. So he starts putting controls. He was the only man who was right at that point of time, as far as the government was concerned. Of course, Raghuram Rajan has also been credited at that point of time and saying that this would happen. But as a government official, he was the only man who was right at that point of time, and we were much safer as compared to what we are. So who knows today? Which man can 100% tell you, I know what will happen in Israel and Hamas. I know what will Middle East do. I will know where the price will go. Which man can 100% tell you? What you know is the information that you and your advisor sit down and do. And that is why I'm saying, always remember your risk reward. Always remember that your money that you need for 6 months, 12 months is in safe avenues. And then let market do its own course. 12 mahine mein that Lehman Brother was also forgotten. 12 months down the line, most things correct and reach its balance again. But the fear, the panic will kill the market for 12 months. It is that 12 months that you should be able to calmly sit and take it. That is the level of financial planning you should do. No man can tell you what will happen in future. Nobody can tell you.
Madam, I have this interesting question. Advisors know a lot more than us. Why are many financial advisors not very rich?
You ask me, I can never be rich. I am an extremely conservative, scared person. So I will never put in small caps.
No, it's like
the reason why,
astrologers.
the reason of today's rally. So the reason for why the markets have gone up today, so much small caps and mid caps, I am scared. Okay, why are they not necessarily rich? See, you have to start with a certain amount of money. He may not have 10 lakh rupees, you have.
Okay.
But he makes 20% return for you. What is the 20% of 10 lakh and what is the 20% of 10,000 that he has in his pocket?
Okay. Okay.
Finally, money is earning money in his savings and investments. The bigger pocket that you start with will always earn you bigger.
Yeah, I understand. That's a good analogy. Madam, another common question is many of, because last week presentation, we heard Mr. Dharmendra Sadapati tell that if you can invest some 3-4 crores in a mutual fund, then you're almost financially free and you can even retire. But the problem many of us have is many don't have that 3-4 crores.
You have to start earning it.
So yeah, so how so one suggestion which I give people is there are lots of youngsters who approach us also. Maybe something like asset rebalancing.Maybe they have an extra flat which they are not using, or there is some ancestral property or something which they are not having. So which I tell them to sell. So maybe somebody has 2 clinics on a own.
That is also an asset. Why should they sell?
No,
unless they need the money and they can do something better with it, why should they sell? See, I
no,
would
maybe
say first,
yeah,
do this asset allocation first. Do this planning first. Don't sell an ancestral property. Maybe you can rent it out and it will still earn you money. Or
but
you can
that
rent out the
can
additional.
ancestral property, if you sell for 3 crores, that can give him the money to put in
Why does
the.
he want to do it there? Then he will do it when he's retiring. Today he's earning enough to take care of his today's expenditure. The ancestral property will appreciate in capital. When he retires, he will own 4 or 5 crores. He will get it from that ancestral. Today, what will he do with that 3 crores?
He wants to invest and retire now only. So,
Okay, he wants to invest and retire now itself, then it's a different story. Then he sells and makes a proper investment plan and sits it and does it. How
Yeah.
old is that person who's talking to you like that?
Maybe 39, 40. He wants to travel the world, so he doesn't want to work
I hope he's
anymore.
not married and doesn't have any dependent.
Yeah, yeah. So
3
yeah.
crores in today's day and age, I
Yeah.
have my doubts is enough for next 30. See, they're living much longer. As doctors now, you guys know we're living so much more longer thanks to all of you and your very good care. Our lifespan is increasing. Is the quality of our life increasing? My mother is 80. The amount of help she needs today, and nothing comes free.
Yeah.
May I interrupt?
I'm sorry. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I agree with what ma'am said, because investing 3 crore at the age of 39, 40 and living for next maybe 40 years, then that money will not be enough, even considering the dividends or other things. So it
That
should
is
be
exactly
more.
why I would suggest go sit down, do a proper numerical chart, go properly do this whole exercise. Don't just go based 3 crores at 70, maybe different story. And sir, today medical expenses so expensive, 80 per. What is the person going to do besides needing medical expenses? How much expensive it is? Any major thing you need 10, 20, 30 lakhs gone. And we want to give the best to our family. No, it's not like I want to tell my mother, no, please, I don't have money, I can't give you the treatment needed. Everyone wants to give the best to the family. How are you going to be able to do that?
Yeah.
Ma'am, one question.
Yes, sir.
How much mediclaim insurance coverage you suggest? Should it be around means 15 to 20 lakh per person per family? Like somebody is above the age of 40, he should have 15 to 20 lakh. Somebody is up to the age of. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir. Go ahead.
Or somebody is 30 to 35, slightly less, and for child in the family, it might be little less. Like in floaters policy, can we divide that? Somebody, suppose father is 40 plus, we can allot up to 20 lakh. Mother is 35-year-old, give her around 15 lakh. Child is 10-year or 12-year, we can allot 8 lakh or
You
like
buy
that.
a floater. I mean, there are family floater,
Correct.
which doesn't put any limit on a single person, but gives you a complete, what do you call, package. That, okay, the 20 lakhs and divided between the family as and when you need it on an annual basis. There is no limit put on a single person.
Floater,
By that floater. And I again come back to the same question. Depends on you. If your family has been healthy, your parents have been healthy, you do not have any smoking, drinking problem, then you may need a lower insurance, health insurance, as compared to a person who's a smoker, whose family has a history of diabetes, of hypertension, of any other chronic problem. They will definitely need a higher, and you should start early, because then you build on that claim-free years. You build, you will be allowed to top up better as you grow older. Today, topping up is also necessary. As I told you, now they are saying that room rent will be a percentage of your premium. This will be a percentage of that. With that, you need all those to keep all that in mind.
Just a small
Yes,
comment. There is a super top-up available with these policies. So 15 to 20 lakhs cover with the say 70 to 80 lakhs super top might be a good idea. So can cover almost up to 1 CR.
And especially if you have major illness history in the
super top-up policies are quite cheap compared to if you want to go for a 1 CR mediclaim. Like you can go for the initial 15-20 lakhs family floater, and then take a super top up for
Yeah, but those,
another 40, 50.
I mean, those top-ups will be very specific to certain diseases only, certain ailments.
No,
or
ma'am.
treatments.
No, ma'am. It is general, but it only starts when
The 20
your
lakh is over.
basic policy expires.
Or
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
even
Basic.
go with disease specific top-ups, which will be cheaper. So if you have something that you
Yeah.
say, okay, I'm more scared of these diseases,
Yeah.
taking away a lot of my
Yeah.
money.
There are multiple instruments even in that.
Yes, you can always
I
choose the
just
right one.
wanted to know one more thing, ma'am. One more thing, ma'am. Basically, like as we hear today that the basic savings in the country is going down, and I think it all depends a lot on the government policies also when they kind of open up the economy, or they want to tighten up the kind of money supply and things like that. So those things also definitely affect the markets, so and the sentiments. So is there any way to like there must be some insiders who all this maybe government, public servants and all. But is there any benchmark for those things also? Like there are some favorites and there are some not that favorites. Sometimes the particular sector is more favorite and sometimes the other sector is more up and down.
The favorites, it would not be so much individual. It will be depending on the economy. Today, if you see, the government wants made in India to be big. So it is saying that all IT hardware, your laptops, your computers, we will regulate it. The moment the government says that, now that is a sudden regulatory, order that the government comes out with. The moment the government says that, you will find that the local manufacturer, IT manufacturer, his shares go up, the prices of the products go up, because people believe that now he has better chances of getting more, his sales increasing, because the domestic public will have no choice. So to that extent, yes, government policies will affect the market and the sentiment, but all of these is usually short term. Somewhere along the line, it does correct itself. These are all short term. See, even government keeps changing. First, he said we will not allow any exports. Then he changes the next day, saying, okay, till October we will allow. Then again they change and say, oh, we will allow imports, but we only want to know what you're importing, and there'll be all these information that you'll have to give to us. So these keep changing. So over a period of time, but if we ever invest in these kind of industries, yeah, those EOUs that I used to call export-oriented units were very popular once upon a time. Just to get that EOU tag, and your prices would go very high, because you were an EOU, you were the one who was earning foreign exchange in the times when our country had foreign exchange problem. But as I said, these are all short term. Unless the fundamental of the company is very strong, when the policy changes, they will not be able to adjust, and that's when they go. So when you do stocks with Haresh Bhai, that is what he harps on. That is what he keeps talking. Fundamental. Go look what you're buying into, and it should be good irrespective of the advantages or disadvantages that the external atmosphere gives it. Per se, it should be good. There's a question.
Any insights about?
One second. I'm sorry, somebody's talking, but there's a question that somebody's asked in the chat box, saying, can you please suggest some reading lectures, videos to understand the basic and build to understand more complex finance matters? Sir, as and when you are very fortunate. You are going to be part of a group which is going through every asset class that I talked about in much more detail in the coming 8 weeks. Attend that first, and then Investopedia is one good site where you get information. SEBI themselves comes up. National Stock Exchange themselves also have a lot of investor education tabs on their site, which will give you a lot of these answers. Most mutual funds also have investor education sites, so you can go. But Investopedia, SEBI, National Stock Exchange, NSDL, all these government sites also give you very good talks on investor education. RBI gives you, when it comes to what kind of care you should take while using all these different financial like credit card, debit card, all that, what care. So these are all places which are all very regulated government places, which will give you very good information. I'm sorry. Now somebody had a question.
Just wanted to know, ma'am, any insights about commodity markets or currency markets, if should one as a part-timer or kind of a passive investor do that kind of work, or should we leave it to the specialists?
Commodity market.
Commodity or currency markets.
Currency, commodity is very world. It's global. Commodity is also global. Sugar export hoga, nahi hoga. Oil price is global. Your exports are global. The war changes it. The war changes the shipping cost. The war changes the insurance cost. Also, the rains play a role in it. All this, unless you are okay, you will. I think you have a lecture on commodities also, on gold and silver also. Unless you are okay understanding all these points, you can go into any kind of investment. Nothing wrong with learning about investment and doing it actually, as long as you have the knowledge to go into that. So if you want to go into commodity, you will have to start learning all these also, because these are all the things that will affect the price of the commodity. Monsoon affects all agricultural commodity. Oil, dollar will affect gold, silver. Currency market is affected by the war. And today you have even more complexities coming in, because now countries do not want dollar to be the only international currency. So you have yuan playing this. Now we are trying to do trade with Russia with different currencies. Rupee also, yuan also, dirham we are trying to add to the basket that we do trade with Russia with. So we are trying to use a lot of currencies. So all these start affecting the value.
Right.
Today, dollar is still the default currency for the world, but people are trying to change that. Come time, it can change. Crypto is coming in picture. Now you have car manufacturers ready to buy, ready to sell in crypto. How will that affect the paper currency? Is also something that needs to be taken. So you need to learn all these. You need to understand this, analyze this, do the research, and then get into that market.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I think we have come closer to the end of the session, and very interesting. 2 hours went very fast. And Madam, can I share your number if somebody is interested to contact you? And is it okay? We can share your number in our group. So somebody, if you want to get in touch with Madam directly, please do get in touch. Next week, we have a very interesting talk on mutual funds by Dr. Manoj Kumar Agarwal. He is an ophthalmologist, but he can talk continuously. I have seen some of his sessions go up to 6 hours, 8 hours. So he is an expert in mutual funds. So please do participate in the next week's session. It is at the same time, 4 to 6. And thanks, Madam, for taking the time.
Just there's one more question. I don't mind taking it.
Yeah, please.
Let's take that as the last question.
Yeah.
Because it is in the chat, so I think we should answer it.
Yeah.
Ma'am, is it advisable to surrender life insurance policy with annual premium of 3.5 lakhs paid for 5 years and invest in mutual fund?
Yeah.
But it all, again, I'm so sorry. I will never be able to give you a generic answer. This will depend on what is the pending period left, what is the money that you are expecting back, and what is the surrender value that you will get now. So sit down with your chartered accountant. He will be best able to, because he'll do an actual calculation and tell you what are you losing and whether mutual fund will be able to make up for that loss. Finally, we want to be able to make up for the loss. So whatever new investment you do should be able to make up for the loss that you will incur on surrendering the life insurance policy. Sit down with the chartered accountant, put all these numbers on paper, and he'll be able to calculate it out for you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. I hope I was able to answer some of your questions, at least introduce the next 8 sessions, because the next 8 sessions are going to be very specific about each individual asset class. I am very thankful to Dr. Senthil and for the group for giving me this opportunity. And I'm sorry for whoever I was talking a little bit in Hindi in between, and I saw the chat a little later. So I didn't course correct myself right when I was going down that route. Sorry for that.
Thank you, Madam, and thanks everybody for participating. I think we had almost 60 people during the peak of the session. And for whoever who has missed the session, we will be providing you the YouTube link also. And have a nice day. And let's all, I think anyway, 2 days still there are holidays for everybody. Most of us are on a long weekend now. And keep in touch, and let's connect and let's interact more on the WhatsApp group also about all the discussions and whatever we have learned. And as I said, we are improving. I think we are improving percent by percent every day, and hopefully we can all attain that financial freedom and education as quickly as possible. Thanks and have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you,
So-
everyone. Thank you so much.